Hare Krishna, Swati Mataji. Oh, just joining.
Okay, yeah, we are connected.
Okay, start. Fine, good to go.
Yep.
Okay, Hare Krishna, everyone. Happy Kartik month. Today we have Prem Rasa Das Prabhu with us again, along with our other devotee friends and participants. We welcome you to this session. So this is a very auspicious month, known as the month of Damodar or month of Kartik. The highlight of this month was a very beautiful pastime of Lord Krishna performed in the very backyard of his home, his house, his parents' house in Vrindavan. It's a very beautiful pastime where his mother is apparently wanting to punish him for breaking pots of yogurt. But I'll leave it until that, and we will have our guest Prem Rasa Das Prabhu, who of course needs no introduction, but just because it's always a privilege to glorify someone of his caliber, his stature, we will say a few words. Prem Rasa Das Prabhu has been a practitioner of bhakti yoga over decades, more than a decade, and he is a very inspirational speaker. Well, not in just in casual terms, but in educating people about the essence of spiritual life, teaching to people the principles of living a life that's centered on God consciousness and spiritual reality, teaching from Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So he is really phenomenal, and he has the unique distinction of being one of the top book distributors in the world for more than for more than 3 years at a stretch. So we are very blessed and glad that he's able to join us so many times on this forum and talk about different aspects of bhakti yoga. And today is going to be a special class, because this is going to glorify, this is going to talk about the essence of that beautiful pastime that happens in this month of Kartik, where, as we said, Mother Yashoda is involved, Lord Krishna's mother, and it's there is a beautiful transcendental chemistry that ensues here. So we'll give it over to Prem Rasa Das Prabhu to take it from here.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. It's a great opportunity to render some service in the month of Kartik, and especially on the topic of the most favorite topic of the month of Kartik, which is Mother Yashoda binding Krishna. And today we'll be discussing about the insights from the different acharyas about this pastime. So it's going to be very exciting also. So thank you so much for giving me opportunity to serve. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjala Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Katadara Shivasudi Kaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay. Yeah, so this month, Kartik month, is extremely special for all the devotees, and specifically for those who are worshipping Lord Krishna in Vrindavan. So there are a lot of recommendations by devotees, exalted Vaishnavas, great souls, acharyas, why one should actually worship the month of Kartik, and it is also glorified throughout the scriptures. in the Kartik Mahatmya Puran. I think the Kartik Mahatmya section of the Padma Puran or another Puran. I don't remember. Maybe the Brahma Vaivarth Puran, or I don't remember the name, but a lot of glories of the Kartik month, and especially to be observed in the area of Raj uh, in Mathura, in the district of Mathura. So there are a lot of glories that are shared in the scriptures, and it is extremely important to observe the Kartik Vrat. If we are not able to go to Vrindavan, then at least we can think of the Lord's pastimes in Vrindavan and think of Vrindavan also constantly as much as possible. And the greatest, I think the greatest factor, which is very simple also to follow, to be followed in the month of Kartik, is offering a simple lamp to the Lord. Does not require that much effort. And if one can just offer lamp every day to the Lord, especially to the picture of Yashoda Damodar or Radha Damodar, and who is binding Krishna with the rope. So if you worship that pastime, if you remember that pastime, and if you sing Damodar Ashtakam, and if you offer lamp, then it is extremely, it gives tremendous results in terms of spiritual strength, and it can also bestow love of God. So whatever service we are doing in the month of Kartik in Vrindavan Dham, that will award us love for the Lord. Obviously, apart from destroying all the sinful reactions, granting auspiciousness, granting peace, granting many other things, the most important consideration for any devotee is that they can attain the love of Lord, which is very easily available. It's like a bonus month. So whatever devotional limbs you practice in the month of Kartik, they are multiplied by unlimited times. So whatever devotion you perform in Vrindavan, it is multiplied by 1,000 times. And then what to speak of performing devotional service in Vrindavan in the month of Kartik. That through that we gain unlimited merits. So it is extremely important. And especially in this month, everyone goes and visits Vraj Bhumi or Dham, different places of Krishna's pastimes. So this is a particular pastime which is actually sung throughout the Kartik with the Damodar Ashtakam, the Damodar Leela. Damodar Leela basically means that Krishna was actually bounded to a grinding motor, and he was bounded by Yashoda's love, basically. Although it can be in the form of a rope, but actually he was bounded by Yashoda's love. And as we'll see in the pastime, that it was Krishna who actually desired this. Although, the pastime is that Yashoda Maiya wanted to tie Krishna so that he could not play any mischief, and he could not go and steal butter from the families of other coward boys in Braj. Somehow Yashoda wanted to prevent Krishna to do that. That was the external reason, but the internal reason was that Krishna wanted to be bounded himself. He wanted to experience that ras and love of Mother Yashoda. So, this month is actually the month of Srimati Radharani, and because Kartik is actually another name of Radharani also, and she is the presiding deity of the entire month of Kartik. So she is the object of worship for the whole month. And because Radharani is as we say that Radharani is more compassionate than Krishna because she is the energy. She's like a mother. So mother is definitely more compassionate than the father. And being the mother of all the living entities, she is more compassionate. That's why she is giving extra mercy, special mercy during the month of Kartik. The entire month is very special, right? So every pastime, if you observe carefully, or basically we may not be able to understand every pastime of Krishna in the month of Kartik, but especially in context of in the context of connecting that pastime with Srimati Radharani. But our acharyas, they have revealed in such a way that each and every pastime in Kartik month is glorifying Srimati Radharani ultimately. So there are so many pastimes, like Deepavali is one of them. Then obviously Deepavali is the victory of Lord Ram over evil and returning back to Ayodhya. So that celebration is called as Deepavali. But the Damodar Leela also happened on the same day. And the name of Srimati Radharani is, one of the name of Srimati Radharani is Kartiki Amavasya. So basically the dark night of the month of Kartik, that is the day of Deepavali, and that is represented by Srimati Radharani. So this pastime happened on this particular day. And then obviously within that pastime, there are many details revealed by the Acharyas, how we can clearly understand that ultimately, although it's a pastime between Yashoda Maiya and Krishna, but Radharani is glorified through that pastime. And then there is a pastime of lifting of Govardhan Hill. Then there is a pastime of appearance of Radhakund and Shamkund, Bahula Ashtami, and other pastimes also are there. Now, obviously, the appearance of Radhakund, Shamkund, it can like the Vrajvasis celebrate on this day, on Bahula Ashtami day, but the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we celebrate that pastime on Chaitra Purnima, which is the Purnima after God Purnima. Anyways, but these pastimes can happen at any particular point of time. They can appear, and so it is not wrong that the same pastime may have happened at different times. It can be a matter of kalpa bhed also, or it is possible that the same pastime could happen twice in a year. Because Krishna's Leela, as we have discussed, that it is so complex and it is so bewildering that he can actually make the Vrajvasis forget about his pastimes. So Krishna can, unlimited times he can actually manifest Radhakund and Shamkund in the same year. But obviously, if it is manifested every day, then we will not be able to understand the true glories. We will not be able to appreciate the glories of all such pastimes. That's why we have a specific day and we have a specific month. So, like, one can say that if Radharani is so merciful, then why not make the entire year as Kartik, or all the 12 months as Kartik? But it does not make sense, because then what is the speciality of Kartik? So there is a special month in which we do some service that is multiplied, magnified. And if it is done every day, then what is the glory of that month? So in order to preserve the glory of that month, so we will maybe able to appreciate it on a much higher level. There is a particular day, the particular month, or maybe a couple of few days like that, and so these days are actually reserved for all these pastimes of the Lord, so that we can actually meditate on them deeply, appreciate them more, and we also feel separation from these pastimes. If it is happening every day, then we'll not be able to, because familiarity will, it will breed contempt. So then we'll not be able to appreciate it deeply. But if the pastime is happening once in a year, we are eagerly waiting for the period when Kartik is arriving, and when can we actually perform devotional service in Kartik, and when we can get the mercy of Srimati Radharani. So all these factors are very important. They are all logical, and it is all decided by the Lord. So we cannot question it as such. But even if we question it, there is an answer for it. Okay. Yeah. So the most prominent Leela, which generally the Gaudiya Vaishnavas actually they emphasize, is the Damodar Leela, which is to be recited every single day. And there are, Satyavrata Muni has glorified this Leela by composing Ashtakam, Damodar Ashtakam, which we sing every day. Okay. So today we'll be discussing about the glorious pastimes of Damodar Leela, Mother Yashoda binding Lord Krishna, starting with that pastime. I don't know if we will be able to go forward and also discuss about Krishna delivering Nalakuvar and Manigriva. But let's try to cover as much as possible, because we'll be having the classes every Saturdays. So today, and then we'll be having next Saturday, and then next Saturday, and then obviously Kartik month is over. So let's see how much we can cover. So now, what I will be doing is, my focus will be to share commentaries of all the acharyas. All the acharya means most of the acharyas, because there are many acharyas who have commented on the Bhagavatam 10th canto and also commented on the Damodar Ashtakam. But I will be covering only the most prominent acharyas commentaries. And so what I will be doing is, the format is that we'll be going through each and every verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 9th chapter, which is the chapter of Mother Yashoda binding Lord Krishna. And I will be also giving the commentary of Srila Prabhupada. So beginning with the commentary of Prabhupada, and then I will share the commentary of other acharyas. That will also help us to understand how Srila Prabhupada incorporated the commentaries of all the acharyas, or at least he has given the most essential commentary of a particular acharya in the purport itself. Okay. Yeah, and there are if there are multiple acharyas commenting on a particular verse, it is possible, in fact it is quite frequent, that these acharyas, they have given the same commentary. So if particular acharya gives a commentary, then we'll not be discussing the same commentary given by another acharya. So we'll just skip that. This is just to save time, actually. Although there are many, probably around 15 to 20 acharyas who have commented on Damodar Leela. And I don't claim to share each and every detail and everything, or every commentary of every acharya, but we'll be covering the most prominent commentaries of the acharyas. And I will be also stating which acharya has commented what. So we'll be going in a sequence, verse 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. There are 23 verses in this chapter. And what I've done is, like, I have prepared for commentaries till verse number 12, thinking that we are not sure whether we'll be able to go ahead or not, because these 12 verses, I think itself it will take a long time. And then along with that, I've also added the commentary of Kavi Karnapur, because he's like not specifically commented on each and every verse of the Bhagavatam, but he has provided his own commentary in the form of a book. So that also I will share. And if there is more time, then maybe I will also discuss commentaries from other acharyas. Okay. And there are some commentaries which I've heard, but I don't remember the name of the acharya, which acharya spoke like that. So, but I will share it in case, if I recollect. Okay. All right. So let's do one thing. So Aritra and Swati Mataji, if you can take turns to read the verses of the Bhagavatam, and then you don't have to read, you just have to read the verse, the translation, the word to word synonym, and the translation, and you don't have to read the purport. Okay, so let's start with Aritra.
Okay, I am now opening up Vedabase. Just give me 2 minutes.
You can also share the screen.
Sure, yeah, that's a great idea. Okay. 10th canto.
Okay, so what we'll do is, yeah.
So 10th canto, chapter 9. The link is here, and I'm also going to paste it in in the Facebook live session. So if someone is interested, they can actually read this beautiful rendition of the pastime captured in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. Ready?
Okay.
1 minute.
Yeah, so you can read the verse,
Let
the
me.
synonym and the translation.
Yeah, just give me 1 minute. Let me just come write this here. All right. Okay. I'm going to share now. There you go. Okay. All right. So reading from 10th Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 9, verse 1 and 2. So we are starting from the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Shri Shuka Uvacha Ekada Griha Dashishu Yashoda Nanda Gehini Karmantara Nyuktasu Nirmamantha Swayam Dadhi Yani Yani Ha Gitani Tadbala Charitani Cha Dadhi Nirmanthane Kale Smaranti Tani Agayata. Okay, and the translation Shri Shukadev Goswami.
You can also go to the synonyms.
Oh, we go through the synonyms? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so this is like word to word translation. Shri Shuka Uvacha. Shri Shukadev Goswami said, Ekada, one day, Griha Dashishu, when all the maidservants of the household were otherwise engaged. Yashoda, Mother Yashoda, Nanda Gehini, the queen of Nanda Maharaj, Karma Antara, in other household affairs, Nyuktasu, being engaged, Nirmamantha, churned, Swayam, personally, Dadhi, the yogurt, Yani, all such, Yani, such, Iha, in this connection, Gitani, songs, Tad Bala Charitani, in which the activities of our own child were enacted, Cha, and Dadhi Nirbhanthane, while churning the yogurt, Kale, at that time, Smaranti, remembering, Tani, all of them, in the form of songs, Agayata, chanted, translation, by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Sri Shukadev Goswami continued, one day, when Mother Yashoda saw that all the maidservants were engaged in other household affairs, she personally began to churn the yogurt. While churning, she remembered the childish activities of Krishna, and in her own way, she composed songs and enjoyed singing to herself about all those activities.
Okay. Can you turn off the screen sharing? Okay, yeah. All right. So, so basically here we can see that how Yashoda Mai is engaged in churning butter, and she is also at the same time remembering Krishna and his pastimes. So Srila Prabhupada actually in the purport, he states that this particular pastime, quoting Srila Vishwanath Thakur, he states that this particular pastime happened on the day of Diwali. And Yashoda has so much love for the Lord that she wants to offer everything best to the Lord. She does not want to compromise with anything inferior. So what she did, so this is what Srila Prabhupada is saying in the purport, that Yashoda's cows, they eat only the best grass. So there are 9 lakh cows in the cow shed of Nand Maharaj, and out of those 9 lakh cows, only 7 or 8 of them, okay, they are that they graze only on very aromatic and fresh grass and smell like a lotus. And because of that, the milk of those cows are the best ones, of the best quality. And out of those 7 or 8, then ultimately there is only one cow whose milk is the best, milk is the ultimate. So that milk is actually offered to Krishna, that butter is offered to Krishna, that yogurt is offered to Krishna. Okay, because Yashoda Maiya's mood is to offer the best to the Lord. So in spite of having maid servants, she is actually personally churning the butter. And so basically she's collecting the milk from these cows, and then she's making the yogurt, and she basically wants to provide the best to Krishna, the best yogurt, the best butter, because so that he can actually stop stealing from other cowherd men's house. That is the intention of Mother Yashoda. This is what Prabhupada states. And while churning the butter, actually Yashoda Maya is completely absorbed in the pastimes of Krishna. So recently, and she's actually reminiscing all the pastimes which happened previously. The killing of the demons like Putna, Trinivarta, like that. So she's like singing, and she's poetizing about Krishna's pastimes of killing the demons. And Prabhupada is encouraging us to follow in the footsteps of Yashoda Maya. So Prabhupada actually, what he says in the purport is that anyone who wants to have a relationship with the Lord in the mood of Vatsalya Bhav, in the mood of a mother to the Lord, then they can actually meditate on Yashoda Maya and they can follow in the footsteps. So what kind of service she's providing to the Lord, then what kind of dress she's having, how she's dressing herself, and how she's turning the butter, the way she's looking, all these things, all these details, we can meditate. And that's how we fall in the footsteps of Mother Yashoda. So this is Prabhupada, he's giving the purport. Now Sanatan Goswami, what he says. So basically, so Krishna is not satisfied just by rebuke. He is not satisfied just by Yashoda Maya scolding him, but he wants himself to be bind up now, so that it can give a new flavor to the pastime. So he wants to get himself tied up, and that's how it also enhances the relationship of Yashoda Maya with Krishna, and it also increases the fortune of Yashoda Maya compared to any other devotee of the Lord. So basically, see, this is the desire of Krishna, that he wants to get tied up. And that reason is also to glorify Yashoda Maya. So whatever Krishna does, he wants that devotees should be glorified, and devotee, whatever they want to satisfy the desire of the Lord. That's how this is a dynamics in pure love, that we don't reciprocate and exchange depending on our personal desires. We want to satisfy the desire of the beloved, and similarly the beloved also wants to satisfy the desire of the of his beloved. So it's a reciprocal relationship and exchange, right? And this is pure love. This is completely pure love, because we see that no one has a tinge of personal sense gratification or desire to please oneself, but to please the beloved. So Yashoda, so basically by doing this, what Krishna is trying to convey is that Yashoda's fortune is even greater than Nanda Maharaj's fortune. And this is what Sukdev Goswami is indicating by stating this verse, the first two verses of the Bhagavatam. And another reason she is called as Yashoda is because she gives fame to Krishna. Now see, Krishna wants to give fame to Yashoda by proving the supremacy of Yashoda as being the greatest devotee of the Lord. And Yashoda also wants to give fame to Krishna. And that's why the name Yashoda exactly befits this particular meaning, because she wants to give the fame to Krishna for being submissive to his devotee. Okay, so how submissive? Because ultimately Krishna becomes subservient to Yashoda's desire and will, and that's how he is getting tied up. So you'll see, what is happening here. We can actually understand the desires of the devotees as well as Krishna by the eyes of the acharyas. And Sanatan Goswami also mentions that actually Yashoda had a lot of maid servants. She had a lot of maids, but she personally wanted to do it for the pleasure of Krishna. Like if you love someone, then you would like to do it on your own. You don't want to assign the task to someone else. This is actually the nature of love. You want to provide the best and you want to give the best. So you want to do you want to directly do it instead of assigning to the servants. Okay, so now Jeev Goswami, what does Jeev Goswami says? He says, so he just adds one additional point. He says that the other Vrajvasis were busy moving here and there in order to prepare for sacrifice to Indra. So you remember that the pastime of the sacrifice to Indra is going to happen soon, right? Because the day after Diwali is Govardhan Puja, the day when Krishna lifted Govardhan hill. So the Vrajvasis, because every year they are celebrating, or they are not celebrating as such, but they are performing, and they want to please Indra by offering him sacrifice and all that. So they are all very busy in, they are moving here and there for the preparation of the sacrifice to offering to Indra. So basically, so this is the reason also, one of the reasons why Yashoda Maya actually, she personally churned the butter, because so that others can be free. They can actually do other tasks, and she herself can actually feed Krishna. Now Srila Vishwanath Thakur, what does he say? He says that out of zillion of cows, there are 7 or the same thing which actually Prabhupada quotes Srila Vishwanath Thakur, and he says that out of zillions of cows, there are only 7 or 8 that are actually grazing on aromatic fresh grass, which smells and smell like a lotus, and whose milk is very fragrant and exceedingly tasty. So Yashoda wanted to make sure that Krishna gets first class milk, yogurt, butter, so that he does not go to other cowherd men's house and steal it. And so now see, another interesting point is, see the efforts of Yashoda Maya, that what she did is, she had prepared many batches of yogurt a day before this pastime happened, and on this day she churned the one which turned out to be the best. So as we know that it takes time for yogurt to actually be prepared perfectly. So only after that we can have it. So Yashoda Maya, knowing this thing, she had prepared batches of yogurts, she kept it, and then whichever turned out to be the best, she offered it to Krishna. So this is the intensity of and the detail of the service of Yashoda Maya for Krishna. This is what Vishwanath Thakur says. And Sripad Baldev Vijayabhushan, what he says is that the good fortune of Nanda and Yashoda is not due to sadhana, but it is completely purely based on their eternal relationship with the Lord. So because they are Nitya Siddhas, they are not performing any sadhana to please the Lord. So this is the commentaries by all the acharyas on the first verse. The second verse, now, see, Sanatan Goswami, he says that for the sake of singing his endless glories, on that day, all the maids were engaged in other tasks. And the reason is Krishna's desire to be Damodar. So basically, he wanted to be known as Damodar. So you'll see that there are multiple reasons why Krishna is enacting a particular pastime. He wants to be called as Damodar. He wants to be called as, he wants to be known as the subservient of the devotees. And he wants to give fame to Yashoda, right? And then you can also say that just like Krishna is called Ranchod, who ran away from the battlefield. So similarly, Krishna also wants him to be known as a butter thief, right? Butter thief, Damodar, like Makanchor, whatever you can say. So these are all the different reasons why Krishna is actually enacting a particular pastime, and our acharyas, they are providing the reasons for it. Srila Vishwanath Thakur says, so basically, what happened is Krishna was actually resting. He was resting in his room, and Yashoda Maya, because she was busy preparing churning yogurt into butter, so she was actually feeling separation from Krishna, and she was feeling agitated. So in order to soothe out that agitation, in order to pacify herself, she was actually singing about Krishna. She was singing about the pastimes of Krishna, like that. Okay, so we have covered both the verses. Now we can proceed for the second verse, third verse. Swati Mataji.
Swati, are you there?
Yes.
Are you able to read? I mean to say, sorry.
Okay, so we can let me share the screen. Actually, one person can only share. No need to share it multiple times. Let me share it. Okay. Yep. Okay, so this is actually the, I think it is called as the Vasant Tilak, or the way you, uh, the way you chant or sing the Sat Goswami Ashtakam. Krishna Kirtan Kanana, or the very first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Shomam Vasa Pritu Kati Tate Vibrati Sutra Nadam Putra Sneha Snuta Kuchayugam Jata Kampam Cha Subru, like that.
Can you repeat, Prabhuji? I just got disconnected.
Yeah, the Sat Goswami Ashtakam, in that tone you have to
Oh, okay.
chant.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I mean, if you're not comfortable, you can just read out, no problem.
Text 3. Kushmam Vasha Pritugate Tate Prabhate Sutra Nadham Putra Sneha Shutakucha Yugam Jatakam Puja Subruhu Rajve Akarshashrama Bhuja Chala Kankano Kundale Cha Svenam Vaktram Kabhara Vigalan Malati Nirmamantaha. Shmam, saffron and yellow mixed. Vasha, Mother Yashoda was wearing such a sari. Pritukati tate, surrounding her large hips. Pribharti shaking. Sutra nadham, bound with a belt. Putra sneha sutta, because of intense love for her child. Become wet with milk. Pucha yugam, the nipples of her breast. Jata Pamcha, as they were very nicely moving and quivering. Subruhu, who had very beautiful eyebrows. Raju Akarsha, by pulling on the rope of the churning rods. Shrama, because of the labor. Bhuja, on whose hands. Chalat Kankanau, the two bangles were moving. Kundale, the two earrings. Cha also. Svinam, her hair was black like a cloud, so perspiration was dropping like rain. Vaktram, throughout her face. Kabhara, Vigalat, Malati, and Malati flowers were dropping from her hair. Nirmamanta, thus Mother Yashoda was churning the butter. Translation: dressed in a saffron yellow sari, with her belt tied about her full hips, Mother Yashoda, pulling on the churning rope, laboring considerably, her bangles and earrings moving and vibrating, her whole body shaking. Because of her intense love for her child, her breasts were wet with milk. Her face, with its very beautiful eyebrows, was wet with perspiration, and Malti flowers were falling from her hair.
Okay. So here Srila Prabhupada is writing the purport, and I will just provide the essence of what Prabhupada is saying, the important points, which I felt I can share, is that so anyone desiring to serve Krishna in Vatsala Bhava must meditate on Yashoda Maya, but not become Mayavadi. So this is very important, that we try to follow in the footsteps of the devotees, but not try to replace them. And this is what Prabhupada is writing the purport. And then Srila Sanatana Goswami, he's just giving information, or I mean, like, well, actually I have only collected the essential points of these commentaries, not everything that they are saying. So Sanatana Goswami is saying that the complexion of Mother Yashoda is dark blue. This is the only thing I wanted to share. And then Jiva Goswami mentions in the Kramadipika that he is basically quoting Kramadipika, and he says that she has blue color. So the contrast of her complexion and the dress would create splendor, right? So blue color along with the yellow sari, that will actually create contrast, and it would create some splendor. But he also quotes Gautamiya Tantra, and he says that she's having yellow complexion instead of a blue. So that's why we'll see that at some places in our temples, somewhere we have Yashoda who is dark blue in color, and somewhere we have Yashoda in golden complexion or yellow complexion. Yeah. Okay. And then Jiva Goswami also says that jasmine or the multi flowers are mentioned because they are very prominent in the month of Kartik. Okay, so now Vishwanath Thakur says that to indicate only Yashoda conforms to Krishna as a mother due to her excellent Vatsalya Prem and qualities. He describes a meditation that must be done on Yashoda by followers of Vatsalya Bhav. So only Yashoda conforms to Krishna as a mother. In order to prove that, like Sukdev Goswami is actually talking about this verse. And he's also describing a meditation that must be done by the followers of Yashoda Maya. And then Baldev Vidyabhushan says that she is called as Gauri, golden complexion somewhere, and somewhere else she is also referred to as dark like lotus, Indivar Sham. So these are the two complexions of Yashoda Maya. Okay. So we'll proceed with verse number 4. Okay, Aritra.
Okay, verse 4. Tam stanyakama asadya mathantim jananim harihi grihitva dadhi manthanam nyasedat pritimavahan. Synonyms: Tam, unto Mother Yashoda; Stanyakamaha, Krishna who was desiring to drink her breast milk; Asadya, appearing for her; Mathantim, while she was churning butter; Jananim, to the mother; Harihi, Krishna; Grihitva, catching; Dadhi Manthanam, the churning rod; Nyasedhat, forbade; Pritim Avahan, creating a situation of love and affection. Translation: While Mother Yashoda was churning butter, Lord Krishna, desiring to drink the milk of her breast, appeared before her, and in order to increase her transcendental pleasure, he caught hold of the churning rod and began to prevent her from churning.
Yeah. So Srila Prabhupada, he says that actually Krishna was sleeping in the room, and as soon as he got up, he stopped her from churning the milk. Okay. And I mean, stopped her from churning butter in order to have her milk, basically. Then Sanatan Goswami mentions that Krishna arrived there by himself. He left his companions far away by some trick out of fear that there would be an obstacle, so that he could experience the bliss of being tied up. So this was another trick of Krishna, that somehow he wanted to stay away from his friends so that he could get tied up alone. And he was actually having a fear that they would create an obstacle for him. So that's why he left all his companions far away. And then Jiva Goswami says that it's understood that he's just gotten out of bed, since it's a custom in Kartik to churn right at dawn, and because he was not in the boys' company. This is what Jiva Goswami mentions. And Vishwanath Thakur says that he was actually trying to evoke his mother's affection, and she was completely aware of Krishna's tricky ways. So, I mean, these are the essential points that they have made in the commentaries. Okay, next. Yeah. Swati Madhuri.
Text 5. Tam ankam arudam
This is Brahma Samhita,
abhyasa.
Upajati.
Okay. Tam ankam arudamapa yasatstanam sneha stutam sasmita ikshate mukham atriptam ushrijya javenasa yayav ushijyanami payasetva adrishrite tam upon unto Krishna. Ankam arudam, very affectionately allowing him to sit down on her lap. Apayayat, allowed to drink. Stanam, her breast. Snehas snutam, which was flowing with milk because of intense affection. Sa smita ikshati mukam, Mother Yashoda was smiling and observing the smiling face of Krishna. Atriptam, Krishna was still not fully satisfied by drinking the milk. Ushrijya, putting him aside. Javena, very hastily. Sa, Mother Yashoda. Yo left that place. Ushrityamane pashyasi, because of seeing that the milk was overflowing. Tu, but adishrite, in the milk pan on the oven. Translation. Mother Yashoda then embraced Krishna, allowed him to sit down on her lap, and began to look upon the face of the Lord with great love and affection. Because of her intense affection, milk was flowing from her breast. But when she saw that the milk pan on the oven was boiling over, she immediately left her son to take care of the overflowing milk. Although the child was not yet fully satisfied with drinking the milk of his mother's breast. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so Srila Prabhupada says that this is a complex situation, and there is a competition between different types of services. One service is actually to please Krishna directly, which is by giving full attention to Krishna and not going anywhere else. And the other is to serve things connected to Krishna. So here we see a dilemma between two things. One is that whether to feed Krishna, keep continuing feeding Krishna and allow the milk to overflow and boil and get burned. And other is to stop somehow the overflow of milk, but to leave Krishna alone. So there was a dilemma, and so Prabhupada here states that actually what to do first, which activity to do first, or which service to do first, that Krishna will guide the devotee from within. And sometimes we need to take care of more than one item of important business for the same purpose. Very wonderfully, Prabhupada is stating in the purport that sometimes we have to do things, do more than one things. And we have to take care of things which are actually for the same purpose. So here we see that, and this is a classic example which is also given in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu to prove that things connected with Krishna and things related to Krishna, they are more important than Krishna. So here the idea was that now why did Yashoda Maiya leave Krishna? And because so she did not so like while commenting on the words Anya Bilasita Sunyam Jnana Karmadya Navritam Anukulena Krishnanu Shilanam Bhakti Ruttama, here Rup Goswami and the Acharyas Vishwanath Thakur Jiva Goswami, they explain that along with the need of pleasing Krishna, it is also important to have a favorable attitude towards Krishna. So here we'll see that there are some exceptional cases where there is no here Krishna is not pleased. Okay, at least externally he's showing his displeasure, although obviously internally everything is the pastime of the Lord and this is what he desired, but externally he's not pleased. So how do you understand this? And so the acharyas, they explain that well, actually the milk which was overflowing, it was meant for the pleasure of Krishna, and somehow Yashoda Maiya wanted to make it a point that I want to give Krishna the best thing. So that becomes actually connected to Krishna. In fact, sometimes it can take more prominence than direct service to Krishna. So this is what Prabhupada is actually saying here. Now Sanatan Goswami makes a point that Okay, now, it's very interesting that Yashoda Maya, she had to leave Krishna down, right? And she had to run in order to stop the milk from overflowing. So the question is that why didn't Yashoda Maya take Krishna together with her? She could have taken Krishna with her, and she could have also stopped the milk from overflowing together. But the answer is, this is what Sanatana Goswami says, that uh, actually, when the milk was going to overflow, Yashoda Maya somehow became very anxious and she wanted to run. She went very speedily. So she would not have been able to reach the spot if Krishna would have been with her, because of the weight, she was not able to. She would not have been able to reach the spot on time. So again, now Sanatana Goswami also makes a point that she's not at fault because it was for the pleasure of the Lord. Now, Jeev Goswami, so he says that parents, they sometimes, sometimes we cannot understand the mindset of a parent because they behave in a very harsh way. And obviously, now when you say that parents are behaving in a harsh way, it does mean that it implies that they are punishing us for a certain reason, for our benefit, for our ultimate benefit, and for our ultimate pleasure. So maybe at that particular time we don't understand, but later on we'll be able to understand that. So basically what Yashoda was thinking is that Krishna wants dairy goods from all the cowherds, but he can't even protect his own wealth. What to speak of taking and stealing from different cowherd men and collecting all the wealth and everything, but he does not even protect his own wealth. Then what to speak of protecting the wealth of others? So I have to make sure, I have to be responsible that I protect everything which is connected to Krishna. In that sense, her momentarily putting aside was actually for the sake of affection for him, because she wanted to take a role of a protective mother. So she wanted to protect the milk from overflowing. That's why. And then Vishwanath Thakur says that to be specific, what Krishna should eat and drink, Yashoda left him. So this was arrangement of prem that can be understood only by one who has prem. Okay, so these are wonderful commentaries by Acharya. In fact, what I heard is like, and I don't recollect which particular Acharya they commented on this pastime, on this particular point, but what they say is that the milk was overflowing because the milk could not serve the Lord. So the milk was thinking that, what is the use of my life? I'm not able to serve the Lord, and Krishna is not going to have me. He's actually having Mother Yashoda's milk, because she is feeding Krishna the milk. So and that's why Krishna is not going to have me. So what is the use of my life? So let me commit suicide. So then what she does, the milk actually overflows and tries to jump off. So this is the thinking of milk. Okay. All right. So yeah. So this is a very wonderful commentary by one Acharya. All right. So let's go ahead with the next verse. Yeah.
Okay. So text 6. Sanjatakopaha Spuritarunadharam.
So again, I think Brahma Samhita. Yeah, Upajati.
Oh, this is also from Brahma Samhita?
Yeah.
Sandashya dadvir dadhi mantha bhajanam bhidva mrishashrur drishadashmanaraho jaghasa hai yangavam antaram gatah. Synonyms. Sanjatakopaha, in this way, Krishna being very angry. Spurita Aruna Adharam, swollen reddish lips. Sandasya, capturing. Dadbhihi, by his teeth. Tadhi mantha bhajanam, the pot in which yogurt was being churned. Bhitva, raking. Nrisha ashruhu, with false tears in the eyes. Trishat ashmana, with a piece of stone. Raha, in a solitary place. Jaghasa, began to eat. Hayangavam, the freshly churned butter. Antaram, within the room. Gataha, having gone.
Okay. Translation?
Translation: being very, oh sorry, being very angry and biting his reddish lips with his teeth, Krishna, with false tears in his eyes, broke the container of yogurt with a piece of stone. Then he entered a room and began to eat the freshly churned butter in a solitary place.
Yeah. Okay. So Srila Prabhupada says that it is very natural for a child to have false tears and become angry. And this is what Krishna did. And Sanatana Goswami says that he truly cries, at this time he was. So see, there is a particular word which is used here, and that is Mishra Shrur, right? We'll see in the third line of the text, Bhitva Bhitva Mishra Shrur. So here actually Sanatana Goswami is saying, uh, so so basically instead of having false tears, actually Krishna cried this time. And he's saying that actually this can be pronounced as Bhitva Ambrishra Shru, Ambrishra Shru, because he was not satisfied. So he actually was crying. Literally, he was truly crying actually. Otherwise, from the, if you spell it Mishra Shru, then it means that he's actually having false tears. But Sanatan Goswami is saying that sometimes, obviously, now Krishna can do anything, so he can cry like a crocodile, showing false tears and all that. But at the same time, he can also literally cry. Okay, so here he's saying that he actually truly cried, and that's how he's splitting up two uh, the two words in the text, and making it clear that actually this time Krishna cried because he was not satisfied, and obviously it was a pastime that he wanted to um, the he wanted to intensify the prema of Yashoda Maya. So he actually cried. So, and then he also says that he made a hole at the base of the pot with the grindstone for the sake of silence. Very interesting. So the purposefully Krishna actually hit the pot at the base so that there won't be any sound or noise. Somehow Yashoda could not hear it. So this is what Sanatana Goswami says. And then Baldev Vidyabhushan, he quotes from scriptures and states that the absolute as being completely desireless, without negative qualities, and always content. But I mean, this is the nature of absolute truth, that he is completely desireless, without negative qualities, and always content. But he is defending the behavior of Krishna, because some people may accuse Krishna that Krishna is not the absolute truth because he's crying and he's not content. He is having ego. So Baldev Vidyabhushan is actually defending, and he's saying that these are all the emotions of material ras. Okay, whatever he's saying about being desireful or having negative qualities, these are all material rasas. But when it comes to Krishna, these are all spiritual rasas. And then he also quotes scriptures to prove that the Lord is beyond all these 18 different types of faults of a normal conditioned soul. So Baldev Vidyabhushan is actually defending the um, display of emotions by Krishna. Okay, verse number 7.
Take 7. Uttraya gopi Shushritam punya Pvayaha punaha pravishya sadrishya cha dadiyat atmatrakam bhagnam vilokya svashushasya karma tyaj jahasatam chapina tatra pashyati. Uttraya, putting down from the oven. Gopi Mother Yashoda Su Smritam, very hot. Payaha, the milk. Puna, again. Pravishya, entered the churning spot. Samdrishya, by observing. Cha, also. Dadi Amatrakam, the container of the yogurt. Bhagnam, broken. Vilokya, seeing this. Swa Shutasya, of her own child. Karma, work. Tat, that. Jahasa, smiled. Tamcha, Krishna also. Api, at the same time. Na, not. Tatra, there. Pashyati, finding. Mother Yashoda, after taking down the hot milk from the oven, returned to the churning spot, and when she saw that the container of yogurt was broken and that Krishna was not present, she concluded that the breaking of the pot was the work of Krishna.
Okay. So Srila Prabhupada says that it was the work of Krishna, seeing him absent and then seeing the pot broken. She could understand that Krishna has done this. And then Sanatana Goswami says she understood this particular act was done by Krishna because she knew that others cannot behave like that. And not to mention their inability to act like that. So it was only Krishna who could actually act like that. And that's why she could understand. And then Jiva Goswami says that others don't act like that due to special cleverness which is required for this particular, the way Krishna actually was performing his pastime. So some kind of speciality of cleverness was required. And so obviously, I mean, the way he broke the pot, so obviously he has to be clever and because the possibility of anger. Okay, so Krishna can only actually do this. No one else can actually do this. And then she also heard the sound of his ankle bells inside the house and the sound of pot that was displaced by his movement. So that's how she understood that Krishna has done this. Okay, next verse.
You sharing? Okay. Text 8. Ulukhalangrir upari vyavasthitam markaya kamam dadatam shichi sthitam hayangavam charya vishankite kshanam niriksha paschat sutam agamat shanai. Synonyms: Ulukhala angreha, of the mortar in which spices were ground and which was kept upside down. Upari, on top. Vyavasthitam, Krishna was sitting. Markaya, unto a monkey. Kamam, according to his satisfaction. Dadatam, delivering shares. Shichi situated in the butter pot hanging in the swing. Hayangavam, butter and other milk preparations. Chaurya Vishankita, because of stealing, were anxiously looking hither and thither. Ikshanam, whose eyes. Nirikshya, by seeing these activities. Paschat, from behind. Sutam, her son. Agamat, she reached. Shanai, very slowly, cautiously. Translation: Krishna at that time was sitting on an upside down wooden mortar for grinding spices and was distributing milk preparations such as yogurt and butter to the monkeys as he liked. Because of having stolen, he was looking all around with great anxiety, suspecting that he might be chastised by his mother Yashoda. Mother Yashoda, upon seeing him, very cautiously approached him from behind.
Yeah. So Srila Prabhupada says that she traced Krishna by following his butter smeared footprints, and the crows that entered came out in fear. When Yashoda Maya started chasing behind Krishna, so that time they also understood that Krishna is in problem, he's in difficulty, and the crows, they actually went away, and she saw Krishna stealing and looking here and there in anxiety. This is what Prabhupada says. And Prabhupada is actually kind of, here quoting, I think, Srila Vishwanath Thakur. So you'll see that Prabhupada in his purports mostly is quoting the Acharyas. and he also provides his own content in the purports. The Jiva Goswami says that Krishna actually sat cross-legged above the motor, which was overturned to in order to scare the cows, scare the crows. So this particular the concept of the motor was actually it was upside down is because it the idea is that so that the crows they can they should not enter and in order to scare them. So that's why it was upside down and Krishna was sitting cross-legged above that. So before this, Krishna had eaten fresh butter after entering deep into the house and had rapidly taken both the leftover butter and the pot that had contained it and had gone to a solitary place behind the house through a back door in order to trick his mother. So there was Jiva Goswami says, Vishwanath Thakur mentions that she was still in the house, looked at them by hiding behind the frame of the window and tilting her neck. So Yashoda was trying to actually see Krishna through the help of a window. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur also, Baldev Vidyabhushan also mentioned the same thing, that she observed him through a lattice window. Okay, next.
Am I reading? Am I reading, Prabhu?
No, I think Swati Madhuri, right? You
Swati
just
Madhuri,
read.
right. I'm going turning off my video for a little bit because there is some activity going on. Okay, but I'm hearing.
Okay.
Text 9. Tam addayastim prasamikshya satvaras tatto varuhaya sasara bitavat gopya yanvadhanvan nayam apayoginam shamam pravishtam tata seritam manaham tam onto Mother Yashoda. Atayastim, carrying in her hand a stick. Prashamiksha Krishna, seeing her in that attitude. Satvara, very quickly. Tata, from there. Avaruhya, getting down. Apasasara, began to flee. Bitavat, as if very much afraid. Gopi, Mother Yashoda. And Anvadhavat, began to follow him. Na, not, yam, unto whom. Appa, failed to reach. Yoginam, of great yogis, mystics. Shamam, who could reach him. Pravishtam, trying to enter into the Brahman effulgent or Paramatma. Tapasa, with great austerities and penances. Viritam, trying for that purpose. Mana, by meditation. When Lord Sri Krishna saw his mother, stick in hand, he very quickly got down from the top of the motor and began to flee as if very much afraid. Although yogis try to capture him as Paramatma by meditation, desiring to enter into the effulgence of the Lord with great austerity and penance, they fail to reach him. But Mother Yashoda, thinking that the same personality of Godhead Krishna to be her son, began following Krishna to catch him.
Yeah, Srila Prabhupada says that what is the difference between yogis and bhaktas? The latter can catch the Lord easily, not only catch, but the Lord actually is fearful of the devotees, and amongst the devotees, even a woman. So this is actually the greatness of a devotee, that the Lord fears the devotee, and whereas the yogis they are actually unable to catch the Lord. whereas a devotee can easily catch the Lord. Not just catch the Lord, but they can actually make the Lord fearful also. This is a speciality of the devotee. So this is what Prabhupada says. And then Sanatana Goswami says, Krishna looked at her holding stick to determine if she will beat him, and that's how he jumped and ran. So her fortune is actually greater than any other devotees. So this is something that only Yashoda Maya can do. That's why her fortune is greater than any other devotee. And then Jiva Goswami mentions that Krishna, when he started running, he ran to the first gate of the village, which was close to the Yamalarjuna trees, in order to cheat her. Obviously, obviously Krishna has a purpose. He wanted to deliver the Yamalarjuna trees, which were which were basically the Nalakuvar and Manigriva, the demigods, and that's why he selected the first gate, which was close to the trees. Okay, next.
So text 10. Avanchamana janani brihatchalach shroni bharakrantagatihi sumadhyama javena vishramshita keshabandhana chita prasunanugatihi paramrishat. Synonyms: anvachamana, following Krishna very swiftly; Janani, Mother Yashoda; Brihat Chalat Shroni Bhara Akranta Gatihi, being overburdened by the weight of her large breasts, she became tired and had to reduce her speed. Sumadhyama, because of her thin waist; Javena, because of going very fast; Vishramsita Keshabandhana, from her arrangement of hair, which had become loosened; Chuta Prasun Anugatihi, she was followed by the flowers falling after her; Paramrishat, finally captured Krishna without fail. Translation: while following Krishna, Mother Yashoda, her thin waist overburdened by her heavy breasts, naturally had to reduce her speed. Because of following Krishna very swiftly, her hair became loose and the flowers in her hair were falling after her. Yet she did not fail to capture her son Krishna.
So Prabhupada again talks about the difference between yogis and bhaktas, how the devotees can easily catch the Lord. He's repeating the same thing. And Vishwanath Thakur, he is saying that Sukdev Goswami is affirming here. So nor should it be said that she did not reach him by running after him, who is very difficult to attain by yogis. So Sukdev Goswami is confirming this point, that so she is able to reach Krishna because she is a devotee. And the same thing cannot be done by the yogis. It is very difficult for them. So this is easily done by devotees like Yashoda Maya. So Sukdev Goswami is affirming this point. And then Bhaddev Bhushan, he says that these flowers, again, they were Malti jasmine flowers. And I do recollect somewhere, I think I've heard that these flowers, actually they wanted to render some service to Yashoda Maya. So they started thinking that because Yashoda Maya is having a tough time running, she's perspiring, and she's also feeling weighty. So let us fall off from the hair of Yashoda Maya, so that will reduce some weight from her hair, and that's how she will be able to catch up with Krishna easily. So they jump from her hair braid, and that's how they fall down. So here, so every entity in the spiritual world, as well as in the pastime of Krishna, they are all conscious living beings, and that's how they want to render service to the Lord, by engaging in the pastimes, and they make decisions according to the way the pastimes will move forward. So here the flowers are thinking they would like to reduce the burden which Yashoda Maya is feeling. So they jumped off from her hair. Okay, verse number 9.
This one I heard actually last 2 weeks ago. We went to the temple in Indianapolis. So Prabhuji was giving a lecture, and this is the first time I heard this. I never heard this before, and it made me think that really that everything, every object in the Lord's Leela is conscious, that we tend to forget. We think that,
Yeah,
the rope, we think, okay, the rope may have some consciousness, but we never think about Ulukhala, like the mortar, the clothes, Mother Yashoda's flowers. We never thought. It was so, like, eye-opening. And I thought it makes total sense that there is nothing non-living, dead matter in the Lord's Leela.
yeah. In fact, just recently, I had a great realization, and which I would like to share at the end of the class. And this is about the ukkal that you're talking about, the motor. Okay, and because you said that that is also a non-living entity, but I had a different realization altogether. In fact, a very contrast realization. Um, and I mean, it is possible. These things are all possible. In fact, see, I just forgot to mention that the leelas of the Lord, they are unlimited. So you'll have unlimited realizations of the leelas, and that's how you have unlimited commentaries also. So Krishna will inspire the devotees um, in their own unique ways, and that's how you'll see that how different acharyas, they are also having different commentaries. In fact, they also differ in details. Obviously, when it comes to principle, they are like they are all aligned together. But when it comes to details, there is a lot of differences in the details, and we'll see that when I also share the commentary by Kavi Karnapur. There are some differences. So these are all wonderful things.
Hmm.
Okay. 11. What's verse number 11?
Text 11. Kritakasam tam prarudantam pashantam anjamasini swapanina udvikshamanam bhayavi vibhavekshanam haste grihitva disayant yavagurat. Krita agasam, who was an offender, tam, unto Krishna, prarudhantam, with a crying attitude, Akshini, his two eyes, Vashantam, rubbing, and Anjatmasini, from whose eyes the blackish ointment was distributed all over his face with tears. Swapanina, with his own hand, Udviksha Manam, who was seen in that attitude by Mother Yashoda, Bhayavibha Ikshanam, whose eyes appeared distressed because of such fear of his mother, Hest by the hand, Aste by the hand, Grihitva catching, Vishayanti, Mother Yashoda was threatening him, Avagurat, and thus she very mildly chastised him. When caught by Mother Yashoda, Krishna became more and more afraid and admitted to being an offender. As she looked upon him, she saw that he was crying, his tears mixed with the black ointment around his eyes. And as he rubbed his eyes with his hands, he smeared the ointment all over his face. Mother Yashoda, catching her beautiful son by the hand, mildly began to chastise him.
Okay. So Prabhupada says that everyone except the devotees like Yashoda is fearful of the Lord. Everyone is fearful of the Lord except devotees like Mother Yashoda, and to offend the devotees. So they are all fearful. But Yashoda is easily chastising the Lord and wants to punish him by binding him so he won't commit the same offense again and again. Right? So this is the nature of the devotees, that they are not just binding the Lord, but they are making the Lord fearful. And in spite of us being fearful of the Lord, they are making the Lord fearful of not committing the same activity again and again. So contrast. This is Srila Prabhupada saying. Then Sanatana Goswami says that he was trying to escape from the punishment. Obviously, that was kind of a show also in one sense. And then he was rubbing both eyes with his hand to remove the tears. He wanted to remove the tears. He wanted his mother to wipe his tears with her hand, but she did not on account of his offense. So, or he was rubbing his eyes to make the tears come out. So, yeah, in order to make a show. And there is a beautiful conversation between Krishna and Yashoda Maya, and it goes as follows. This is what Sanatan Goswami is saying. So from now on, I won't give you any fresh butter. No more, no more treats. I will hide with other ladies in their homes. If I spot you there, I will never let you go out of my house again, and you will never play with your friends. So this is what Yashoda Maya is conveying to Krishna. And then Vishwanath Thakur says that with his hand he was rubbing both eyes, on which the eyeliner was smudged. He rubbed with the top of his left hand, since the right hand was actually held by Mother Yashoda. So see, they are actually providing so many details because they are witnessing the pastime. They are seeing the pastimes. They have the vision. That's how they are able to provide all these minute details. Okay, next. Yeah, so I think we can discuss the last verse for the day. And then I will be sharing the commentary of Kavi Karnapur. Yeah.
Verse 12. Tyaktva yastim sutam bhitam vigyayarbhaka vatsala yesha kila tam baddhum damna tadviriko vida. Synonyms. Tyaktva, throwing away. Yast, a little long. Yastim, the stick in her hand. Sutam, her son. Bhitam, considering her son's greatest fear. Vigyaya, understanding. Arbhaka Vatsala, the most affectionate mother of Krishna. Iyesha, desired. Killer, indeed. Tam, Krishna. Badhum, to bind. Damna, with a rope. Atat Virya Kovida, without knowledge of the supremely powerful personality of Godhead, because of intense love for Krishna. Translation: Mother Yashoda was always overwhelmed by intense love for Krishna, not knowing who Krishna was or how powerful he was. Because of maternal affection for Krishna, she never even cared to know who he was. Therefore, when she saw that her son had become excessively afraid, she threw the stick away and desired to bind him so that he would not commit any further naughty activities.
Yep. Okay. So Srila Prabhupada here says that Yashoda wanted to bind Krishna, not to chastise him, but she was fearful. Now, okay. Now, what is the reason Yashoda is binding Krishna? Any guess? Why was the intention of Yashoda to bind Krishna? It was Krishna's desire. Obviously, that's a different thing. But what was Yashoda thinking? Why she was trying to bind Krishna?
To discipline him, to stop him from. Well, Prabhupada is saying that to prevent him from committing further mischief.
Further mischief, and to stop him from stealing from other places, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So, but okay. So there is some sort of punishment, which is given by Yashoda, but it does not mean that she has to bind him, right? She could chastise him, and she could also make him afraid of the stick. But why she has to bind him? So Prabhupada states in the purport that she was fearful that Krishna may leave the house in fear and create some disturbance. I mean, Krishna may just leave in anger and he may go in the forest somewhere all alone. So she became very fearful about it. And that's why actually she bounded Krishna. So she didn't care, obviously, who Krishna was, and she didn't also knew. I mean, her Vatsalya completely covered her Aishwarya about Krishna, but and that's how she just thought that Krishna is my child, and if he goes away out of anger, then she will become very anxious about it. So because of that, she had to tie Krishna, right? So this is a wonderful reason, which is mentioned by Prabhupada. Now again, the Acharyas also, they mentioned the same reason. So I believe that Prabhupada is just reiterating that reason here. Okay, Sanatan Goswami, what he says is that another explanation of the Tad Virya Kovida is she knows his power. In other words, she was assuming this, I might be not able to bind him. He is big and strong. Still, she desired to tie him up. Why? Arbaka Vatsala, because of the conceit of being stronger than him, on account of deep affection due to the notion that he is her own boy. So again, the Aishwarya is there, the awareness is there, but that is covered by her intense Vatsalya Bhav. This is Sanatan Goswami. Vishwanath Thakur, he also mentions a comment in a conversation format, and he says that so Krishna is saying to Yashoda, Mom, don't beat me. If you are greatly afraid that I will beat you, why did you break a pot of yogurt today? Mom, I will never do that again. Please let go of the stick. So her mind perplexed due to the fearful agitation in her son's speech. So in this verse, Sukdev Goswami says that she determined a mean to restrain him because she was anxious. She is angry. I mean, since he is angry, you might go in the forest at some point of time. Okay. So this is Vishwanath Thakur's commentary, and I think that's how Prabhupada is. He's just reiterating that commentary in his purport. And then Vallabhacharya, the Acharya in our Rudra Sampradaya. So he says that she thought that Putana, Trinavarta and others happened to die by some cause. What did he have to do with that? So basically, Vallabhacharya is saying that she was completely covered by her Vatsalya Bhav, and she did not believe or she did not think that it was Krishna who actually killed all these demons. So she was just thinking that these all demons, they were killed because of some other cause. And Krishna had nothing to do with the death of all these, the killing of all these demons. So this is the concluding comment or commentary of the Acharyas for the 12 verses. And the remaining ones we can cover later in the second part. But now I'll be sharing the comments by Kavi Karnapur. You'll see that there are certain differences also in his commentaries. So Kavi Karnapur, I will just go along with the flow because we have already discussed the pastime till this point. So what are the comments by Kavi Karnapur? So first he says that, though Yashoda Maya had a lot of maids, she wanted to show her expertise in making butter. So he's actually giving another reason. Till now what we have heard is all the Acharyas, they're saying that Yashoda wanted to personal churn the butter for the pleasure of Krishna, but here Yashoda wants to show her expertise in offering the best butter to Krishna. And so see, this is obviously true because Yashoda Maya is actually one of the most exalted devotees of Lord and the Antaranga Shakti of the Lord. Just like Srimati Radharani, Yashoda Maya also has a tinge of Mahabhav in her bhav. So as we say that Radharani is the best devotee or the best worshipper or the best devotee of the Lord. So similarly, Yashoda is also very close to that platform. And because Radharani is expert in everything, she is the best in everything. So similarly, Yashoda Maya is also best in her Vatsalya Bhav towards Krishna. And that's why she wants to show that she can prepare the best butter amongst all the others. Okay. So this is what Kavi Karnapur says. And then he also says that the jewels, the flowers, peacock feathers on her fell off like shooting stars beautifying the darkness of night. These things, they beautified the earth. So yeah, so the jewels, the peacock feathers and the flowers, they fell off in such a way that it seems that the stars are actually falling off in the darkness of night, like shooting stars. Okay. And so similarly, when they fell to the earth, it was beautifying the earth. And then Kavi Karnapur also makes a point about how Krishna stealthily entered the milk room and he started eating butter from various pots. So there were various pots arranged, and then Krishna started eating butter from all these pots, and somehow he got pacified through that. So he had anger for Yashoda Maya, but he got pacified, and then he gave up his anger. And then we have heard till now that Krishna actually sat on the motor cross-legged, right? But here Kavi Karnapur says that Krishna stood on the motor. and he started feeding all the children and monkeys in the courtyard. Okay. So then later on, Yashoda returned, and when Yashoda returned after saving the milk from boiling over, so she returned and then she wanted to embrace her son in order to pacify him, and she also wanted to console him, but she did not find him. And then Karnapur also comments that Yashoda Maya, when she started chasing after Krishna, she found some broken pots which were emitting innumerable streams of yogurt that flowed across the floor, making it very slippery and white in color. So out of anger, Krishna had smashed all these pots. Okay. And then he says, Yashoda Maya couldn't understand who has done this. But then later on, she actually realizes, because she saw that there was a stone, and she understood that Krishna must have used the stone to break the pot. So with the look of surprise, Mother Yashoda touched the tip of her nose with the index finger of her beautiful left hand and thought, how could my child show such impudence? I tried so patiently to train him properly, so how could he behave so horribly? This is what Yashoda Maya is thinking after she saw the how Krishna actually broke all the pots. And then he also describes in a conversation format between Krishna and Yashoda. So he says that, dropping, you better drop the stick and I will stop running, because Yashoda is actually kind of yelling to Krishna that, stop, why are you running? And then Krishna is telling Yashoda that better stop, better drop the stick, then only I will stop. And he was basically afraid of getting beaten up by Yashoda through the stick. Okay, so these are some of the commentaries by the acharyas, and also particularly by Kavi Karnapur till verse number 12, and the rest of them we'll discuss later. But I had some realizations just recently. So I was like, if you remember, I was talking about the way everything can be connected to the pastimes of Srimati Radharani, or the remembrance of Sri Radha in all of these things. So it just struck me, because I know that Yashoda Maya, since the time she had met Srimati Radharani, she saw her. Since that particular time, she was always thinking how she could unite Krishna, how she could unite Radha with Krishna, and get them married somehow. Okay, so it just dawned upon me that maybe this Ukhal is probably the manifestation of Srimati Radharani, because it has a golden complexion, and Mother Yashoda wanted to actually tie a knot between them, between Krishna and Radha. So in the younger years, when they are both in the Kumar age, so they cannot express themselves openly, right? And what to speak of embracing each other. So now here, actually Krishna is binding, when Yashoda is binding Krishna with the motor, with the help of the rope. So basically what she's doing is she's bringing the Ukhal and Krishna together, kind of embracing each other. So, it is possible that this can be the manifestation of Srimati Radharani also, and how they are actually embracing, in Kumar age. Yeah, this is one realization. And another realization, a follow-up realization along with this, is also, kind of, I particularly liked it, because one thing we see that the Ukhal was used to deliver Nal Kuvera and Manigriva from their bondage, right? And we know that if we have to be delivered from this bondage of material world, or any conditioned soul, they would like to get free from the bondage of the material world, then the only possible way is actually they can get free by the mercy of Srimati Radharani. And that's why Krishna had the Ukhal with him, and through the help of Ukhal only, actually the trees they fell off, right? So kind of conveying a message that it was only because of the Ukhal, only because of Radharani's mercy, that actually the trees fell off, or you are delivered from the bondage of material existence. So this was my humble realization recently. It just struck me while preparing for the class, and few days ago. All right. So any comments, any questions? Are you there? Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for sharing the realizations. It was very nice.
Yeah,
Okay,
Prabhuji,
thanks.
I got a little distracted, so I couldn't hear the last part. So I will go back to the recording. So I'm a little sorry for that. I was
Last
hearing,
part
but
is,
towards the
what
end
did you
I
hear?
got a little disconnected.
Till what did you hear?
When you started the commentary, Kavi Karnapur.
Okay, okay. So the entire commentary you could not hear, what?
No, I did not hear that.
Okay, okay. And I also shared my realization about how the Ukkal was like. I felt that it was the manifestation of Shrimati Radharani because of the golden complexion of the Ukkal, and kind of they were embracing each other, and Yashoda tying the knot between them because she had a desire to get them married and make the bonding forever. So somehow they were bonded together by that at younger age, which is Kumar age, because they cannot express their emotions openly at that age. And then ultimately, how only by the mercy of Radharani the conditioned souls of this world are delivered. So that's why Krishna made the use of the Ukkal to deliver Manigrav and Nalakuvara from their bondage. It was with the help of Ukkal. So this was my realization. When I was preparing for the class, just manifested like that. So like like that, there are unlimited realizations of devotees. They get these realizations, and we can have interpretations of these leelas, provided they are all in line with Guru Shastra. It does not contradict them. Yeah. So any question, any comment?
Not from me.
Okay. Swati Mataji?
No, Prabhuji.
Okay, all right. So we can stop now, and we'll continue in the next class. So thank you all the devotees for joining. Hare Krishna to everyone.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yeah, this
Thank
was
you,
a very
Prabhuji.
nice
Hare Krishna.